Hello, hi everyone. Hi. Okay, so we'll give about like maybe two more minutes for more people to join in. Hello. Good morning. Selamat pagi. Nice to see all of you so semangat on a Wednesday morning. Okay, maybe just one more minute, then I'll start. To answer your question, Montaigne, I cannot see you. But if you chat with me, then I can connect with you. Hello. Hi. Okay, we're gonna start soon. One more minute. Okay. Hello, hi. Okay, I guess I will start now. We have about 200 people. Okay, there are more coming in. Hi, Kenneth. Not sure if you're my member. No, I cannot hear you. But you can connect with me in the chats. Okay, I will just go ahead and start now. Hi, good morning, everyone. So I'm Ashlee. I'm one of the dietitian at Naluri, and it's a pleasure to be here with all of you on a lovely Wednesday morning to share something very meaningful. Well, I know it's only midweek, right? But I hope today's session sparks your curiosity about gut health. So today, the topic that I will be sharing is how gut health affects your mood. Now, I'm sure you must be wondering, right? Like how can like gut plays a role in affecting your mood, right? But hopefully after today's session, you'll be able to get a better idea on this. Okay. So before I go into the topic, there are a few housekeeping pointers to go through. So make sure you are using a supported browser and that your internet connection is stable. So if you continue to experience any technical difficulties, you can try to refresh your browser and rejoin the webinar. But if you continue to experience more issues, you can always send a private message in the chat at Naluri Events for further assistance. Okay. And then I also want to make sure today's session is an engaging one. So I'll be very happy if you can ask your questions in the chat, participate in polls, and also I can just feel free to share your thoughts. If you have certain questions you want to direct it to me, you can type at Ashlee in the chat. If you want to remain anonymous, you can also send me a private message in the chat. Yeah. So at the end of this webinar, a PDF document of these slides will also be shared to you guys. And then after that, you will also receive a recording of this webinar in your inbox. However, if you don't receive it, you can always find it via our Naluri website and also our YouTube channel. Okay. Okay, good. I'm sure all of you can hear me. Do you want me to speak louder? Can you hear me? All good? Yes, okay. Maybe I need to speak a little bit louder. Okay, so this is an overview of what we will be discussing today. So we will be talking about the link between the gut health and mental well-being, the dietary patterns to help optimize gut and mental health, as well as some of the practical applications in our daily lives. Before I dive right into our topic, I would like to briefly introduce myself. So I'm Ashlee, and I'm a registered dietitian in Malaysia with over 5 years of clinical experience. So previously, I had the opportunity to work as a clinical dietitian at a private hospital, and now I'm happy to be a community dietitian at Naluri. Yes. So I want to share one fun fact about myself. I actually hate raisins and celery. So I don't know what is it about raisins that make me hate it. It's probably probably the color or the texture. And for celery, it's definitely the taste. But don't get me wrong, I have nothing against people who like them. It's just not for me. So yeah, dietitians can actually have food preferences too. And contrary to popular belief, I love eating chocolates. Yeah. So the first question from me is, do you believe improving your gut health can positively impact your mood or mental clarity? So feel free to participate in the polls. In the poll. Yes, maybe not sure. Yeah, whether you are sure, uncertain, or doubtful, just feel free to participate. Yeah. Okay. Majority, yes. Some not too sure, maybe. Okay. So I hope that you will have a clearer answer after today's session. Okay. So of course, this whole session is about gut health and mental health, right? But I'm sure a lot of you might be wondering, what exactly is the gut? Maybe you can take a quick guess. What is the gut? Is it the stomach, the intestine? Right? If we are not sure what is the gut, it's quite hard to understand this topic. I've heard somewhere that the gut is the second brain. Oh, it's the tummy? Okay. Okay. Intestine. Okay. Tummy, intestine. Well, all of you are not wrong, because when we talk about the gut, we actually mean more than your stomach. There are a lot of players in the team. If you look at the picture, right, your gut is supported by the liver, stomach, gallbladder, pancreas, intestines, and colon. It's basically like a complex system that involves your digestive tract, which houses trillions of microorganisms in the gut. So now you have a clearer idea. It's not just your tummy or your stomach or your intestines, it's the whole digestive tract. Okay? So now that you understand what the gut is, let's tune into how you're feeling today. So how's your mood today? Which emoji best describes how you're feeling? Feel free to type in the chat box. You can put an emoji, tired, okay, sleepy, hungry. Okay, good. Okay, so there's like a mixture of good and bad. Okay, which is normal. So I see like a mixture, right? Which is very completely normal. So let me share with you something very interesting. Your gut actually plays a very big role in how you feel emotionally. So how does the gut do that? It actually helps to produce all these important feel-good chemicals like serotonin, also known as the happy hormones. Have you heard of serotonin, the happy hormones? So aside from producing serotonin, they also produce something called GABA, which stands for the gamma aminobutyric acid. So all these two hormones, right, they support your mood, sleep, and even appetite. And one fun fact, about 90% of your serotonin, which is the happy hormone, is made in the gut. and not the brain, So a happy gut can actually mean a happier you. Okay. Now, have you ever felt happier after eating chocolates? Remember I told you I love eating chocolates? Yes? No? Okay. Majority, yes, right? Yes, not chocolate but ice cream. Okay. Guilty. Oh no, don't feel that. Okay. Yes. Okay. So those who've answered yes, right, to feeling happier after eating chocolates, you are not alone. So many people, including myself, I feel the same way. And there's actually science behind it. So they found out that cocoa is not just good for your heart health, thanks to the antioxidant and polyphenols, right? They found out that dark chocolates also has very powerful mood boosting effects. They can enhance your mood and increase your feelings of pleasure and enjoyment. In fact, one recent study, they found out that eating dark chocolate, especially those with higher cocoa percentage of more than 85%, can positively influence the emotional states in healthy individuals. So yes, that post-chocolate happiness that you feel is actually very real. But I'm not suggesting that dark chocolate is the magic pill to improve our mood, right? But the real question is, how can something we taste in our mouth goes down the digestive tract influence our mood, right? Now, have you also ever experienced butterflies when you feel nervous or excited? Yeah? Like you feel a bit kanchong, very nervous. Do you get that tummy feeling, especially when presenting? Yeah, I'm definitely feeling a bit of that right now. Yeah, okay. Yes. So that gut feeling that you feel, right, is actually very real. It's not just a figure of speech when people talk about gut feeling. Now, let's take a closer look at how this powerful connection between your gut and the brain actually works. Okay. Yep. Surprise, surprise, or not really a surprise. Our gut and brain, they communicate with each other frequently. They also influence each other and rely heavily on each other. They are basically like besties. Look at this cute picture, right? They are like besties. So maybe that's why, some people also consider the gut as your second brain. Like somebody also mentioned in the chat just now. So this connection between the gut and the brain is called the gut-brain axis. And they are connected by a very important nerve, also known as the vagus nerve. So this vagus nerve that connects both of them, it acts like a direct hotline, They're constantly sending messages between these two. Okay, so before we dig deeper into it, let's zoom in to see what's inside your gut. Look at this cute picture also. Okay, so your human gut is colonized by over 10 trillion microorganisms. Okay, 10 trillion of these little cute bugs that you see here. 10 trillion, yeah, you heard it right? Not 10 million, not 10 billion, but 10 trillion microorganisms. And this amount is about 10 times as much as our body cells. So collectively, all these are known as our gut microbiota. So there are so many of them, they are almost as heavy as our brain, yeah. So we are actually more bacteria than we are human. Okay, now I want you to picture this, right? Imagine walking through an Amazon rainforest. Okay, imagine walking through that rainforest. It's full of life with all kinds of plants, animals, insects, and just different species coexisting. Each of them play a very important role in keeping your ecosystem balanced. Okay, now think of your gut like that rainforest. Okay, a healthy gut is actually home to a diverse community of tiny organisms that you see earlier, including bacteria, fungi, and other microbes that need variety to stay healthy. So this diversity is actually a very good thing because it helps maintain balance and keeps everything running smoothly. But what happens, right, if that balance is disrupted? It's no longer a balance anymore. So when it's disrupted, so for example, when there's a drop in your all this organism, there's a drop in diversity. It's like cutting down trees in the forest, you know. So when this balance is disrupted, it will lead to something called dysbiosis. dysbiosis, dysbiosis. So when dysbiosis happens, that's when all the bad bacteria will take over and then the good bacteria will start to disappear. So what happens during this disruption is when it will affect your body, like your digestion problems, or some people might even experience like IBS, right? It can not only your digestive issues, it can also impact your mood, energy, and even immunity. So what is one common disruptor that will affect this balance? It's actually the prolonged use of antibiotics, right? So while antibiotics are very important to fight infections, right, they can also wipe out the good bacteria along with the bad bacteria, which can reduce the gut's overall diversity. Okay. Now, scientists also believe that the more diverse your gut bacteria is, the more resilient your gut is. And here's the cool part about it. Your gut microbiome is very unique, is uniquely yours. It's kind of like fingerprint. There are no two people in the world that have exactly the same microbiome profile. Okay. So what are some of the factors that can affect your gut microbe? Okay. Our gut microbe can actually be shaped or influenced by so many different life factors, as you can see in the slides, including how we were born, whether we were breastfed, where we live, our diet, medications, stress level, age, and so much more. But today, I will mainly focus on 3 key areas that we can control to support both your gut and mental health. So these 3 are your diet or nutrition, stress management, and exercise. But the good news is you don't have to figure all this out alone. On the Naluri app, you can just chat with the mental health coach to better manage your stress, speak to a fitness coach if you want a kickstart of your exercise routine, and also reach out to us dietitians to work on your diet and gut health. Now, since I'm a dietitian, I'll be zooming on the diet part today. And if you have even more like specific or personalized questions that you have about diet and gut health, just feel free to reach out to any of the dietitians on the app anytime. Okay. So as a summary, the gut-brain axis basically play a very important role in maintaining, in keeping our body in balance. So the balance, or what we call homeostasis. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, when this system is disrupted, such as through the dysbiosis, it can trigger inflammation and contribute to many digestive problems, and also your mental health, which is it will increase your risk of like anxiety or depression. So to put it in simple terms, your mental health affects your gut health, and your gut health also affects our mental state. Now, there's also very strong scientific studies that show that an imbalanced diet can negatively impact your mood, brain function, and well-being. Let me share with you one very interesting study. This is called the SMILES trial. So this SMILES trial, right, is actually one of the very first randomized control trial that to explore the impact of mental health and diet. So specifically among adults with like moderate to severe depression. So in this trial, right, in this study, the participants, they were split into 2 groups. One group received dietary intervention and another group received social support. And what did they find? The results are actually very remarkable because the group that received dietary support, right, they show significantly greater improvements in their mental health compared to those who only receive social support. Not only that, a meta-analysis in 2019, they also looked at multiple randomized control trial, and they found that dietary intervention can significantly reduce symptoms of depression. So while the specific goals for each of these studies or each of these intervention is different, they share one common approach, which is they reduce the intake of high fat, high sugar, and junk foods like fast food and snacks, and they replace all this food with nutrient-dense food and high fiber foods, mainly vegetables. Yeah. So what do all these studies tell us? So these studies tell us that improving your diet is not only good for your physical health, it may also be a very powerful and accessible tool to support your mental well-being. Okay, so I think we can safely say that a mentally friendly diet is also a gut-friendly one. Okay, and we also learned earlier that there are a lot of factors that influence your gut health, right? But diet is actually one of the modifiable factors that is readily available, accessible, and can be made affordable for each one of us. So what does a gut or mood-friendly diet looks like? Okay, let's break it down into 5 simple principles that you can start applying today. So what are these 5? The first one is include omega-3 fatty acids food. Second, include food rich in fiber, or also known as prebiotics. Include probiotics regularly, limit processed food, and always aim for balanced meal. Now, how many of these are already part of your daily routine? You can participate in the poll, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or 0 also can. You can put in the chat if it's 0. Yeah. Okay. So there's a mixture. Majority of you pick 3. Okay. 3, 2, 2 and 3 is the most common one. Now it made me wonder, which 2 and 3 do you guys usually, already start practicing? Okay, not sure. Okay, so majority of you answered 3. So it's good that you are already doing 3 out of 5. That is a very good achievement already, right? Okay, now let's go through all these one by one. Okay, the first one will be omega-3 rich food. So any one of you here regularly eat fatty fishes such as salmon, sardine, tuna, mackerel, or maybe you like munching on nuts and seeds, right? Okay, so for those of you who regularly eat this or like to munch on the nuts and seeds, they are very good for you because omega-3 rich foods, they help to reduce inflammation and support your brain health. I'm sure you've heard of it, right? Like even infant formula, they always advertise also, like the DHA, EPA. So all these are very good for your brain. Yeah, so they're not wrong. So omega-3 rich foods, which is high in EPA and DHA, is very good for your brain. And your brain really loves all these healthy fats. So if you can, try to incorporate fatty fishes in your diet about 2 to 3 times a week. And you can also have 20 to 30 grams of nuts and seeds, which is about 1 handful every day in your diet. And you can also try to include some healthy oil, such as flaxseed oil, canola oil, olive oil. Okay. Now, the second one would be prebiotics. So think of fiber as like your favorite food for your good gut bacteria. So all these fiber are also known as prebiotics. So prebiotics are food for your good gut bacteria. So you will find all these prebiotics in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, nuts and seeds, and legumes. And as we mentioned earlier, the more variety you eat, the more diverse your gut becomes. So it's like adding a lot of different species into your small forest, into your big forest, basically. Okay, each one of all these plants, they play a very huge role in keeping your ecosystem healthy, balanced, and full of life. So when we feed our gut bacteria well, they also help keep us happy. Okay, now let's take a look at the American Gut Project. So this American Gut Project, right, is one of the largest study ever done on the human microbe. So they collected over 15,000 microbiome samples from more than 11,000 people. So mostly from the US, the UK, Australia, but also from 42 other countries and regions. So what did they find? So one of the standout results is they show that people who eat more than 30 different types of plant-based food a week had a much more diverse and balanced gut microbiome compared to those who eat fewer types. So, which further proves that a more diverse gut is linked to better digestion, stronger immunity, and even better mental health. So, the key here is variety. It's not just about eating more vegetables, not just about eating more types of same vegetables, but eating more types of them. Yeah. So where every time I talk about vegetables with my members, a lot of them will immediately think of green color, right? But actually vegetables are made up of different colors. So you have purple color from brinjal, white color from cauliflower, what else? Orange color carrot. Okay, so the more variety you have, the better your gut balance is. Okay, now on to the third recommendation is to include probiotics food regularly. So this one is probably very familiar to most of you, right? When people think of gut health, probiotics are usually the first thing that comes to mind, right? So what are all these probiotics? They are actually live good bacteria that helps to keep your gut microbiome in balance. So you can find all these probiotics in food such as yogurt, miso, tempeh, and some of the fermented favorite food like kimchi or sauerkraut. So if you add all this into your diet, it can help support digestion and improve your gut health. Okay. Now, the fourth recommendation is to limit processed food. So when I say processed food, I don't mean like plain bread is processed food. I mean, it is processed food. But when I talk about processed food here, it's mainly the ultra processed food that is high in sugar, unhealthy fats, and artificial additives. So all these, they combine, they can disrupt your gut microbiome and trigger inflammation in your body. So I know all this food, they might give you like a quick boost or like a moment of comfort when you eat that, right? So that sugar high or that satisfying crunch when you eat something deep fried can make you feel good, but that often is more often than not is very short. In the long run, if you regularly eat this food, it can affect your gut health and eventually bring your mood down in the long run. However, it's not about cutting them out completely. It's just more about being more mindful on how often we eat them and how much we rely on them. Okay. And finally, go for a balanced plate. So can you think of what your last meal looked like? Maybe breakfast, because now it's before lunchtime, right? So your breakfast, did it include some protein, some carbohydrates, some healthy fats and fiber? Did it include all these food groups that you see in the slides? Okay. Breakfast black, Maggi goreng. Okay. Kondomi, bread, eggs, yogurt, fruits, nasi lemak, cookies and milk, oats, half-boiled egg. Maggi is ultra processed, yes, because it has a lot of additives. Maggi goreng. Okay, we get a lot of mixture, right? So if your last meal does not have all these food groups, then maybe it's time to do something about it. But if it includes all these things, then you are already on the right track. Because including all the important food groups with the right amount at each meal can help to keep your blood sugar stable as well as your gut happy. I understand that maybe majority of you have already seen this plate, but you are not too sure how to adapt it in real life, right? So what can you do? You can always speak to a dietitian on what are some of the examples that you can do to fit into this healthy plate. Okay, you don't have to sacrifice what you usually eat. It's just more about making small changes to make it better. Okay. So now that you've learned about the connection between gut and mental health, as well as what are some of the things you can do to improve your gut health, my question to you is, on a scale of 1 to 5, how willing are you to change your diet if it meant improving your mood and mental health? So out of the 5 things. Okay, 4, 5. Wow, okay, not bad. It's at the higher end of the scale. We get a mixture of 3, 4, 5. Majority at 4 and 5. Okay. Okay, somebody said you have portion control issue. No problem. Speak to a dietitian. Trust me. Okay. It doesn't hurt your wallet. 5, it doesn't hurt. No worries. Speak to a dietitian. We can always find alternative. So eating healthy for your gut doesn't mean that you have to spend a lot of money. Okay, we don't have to take like imported food, right? We can always look for the local grown produce. 5, I started my balance plate 3 weeks ago. Great, good for you. Now, here's the thing, right? So for those of you who might not be motivated or already very motivated, you don't need to tick all 5 boxes right away, you know. Even small changes in just one area can make a big difference over time. So, you know, the 5 things that I mentioned just now, like the omega-3, the prebiotics, the probiotics food, the balance plate, right? So all these, maybe you can start to focus on just one this week, right? Okay. Gut feeling tells me it's going to cost a bit more. Wow, there's so many messages. Okay. Is the sugar from fruits good for health? Okay, so somebody asked whether the sugar from fruits is good. So fruits contains natural sugar known as fructose. Yes, it's okay. You can take the fruits from sugar. Most importantly is the amount of fruits. Yeah. Okay, so before I move on to the Q&A, right? Let me finish my last few slides. Okay, so if you want to ask me question, you can tag my name so then I can go back to view all your questions later. Okay. Okay, so aside from diet, right, I also want to share 4 practical steps for you to take using the acronym FIRM, FIRM, so easier for you to remember. So what does F stands for? F stands for food journal. So I would encourage you to use the app to log your meals because it will help you and your dietitian to understand what supports your gut and mood. So I stands for increased activity. So staying active even with like simple movements, right? Or just like brisk walking or incline walking on the treadmill, you know, can definitely boost your gut and mental health. So if you're not sure where to start and how to start, or you are too intimidated to, you know, go to the gym, it's fine. Please feel free to just chat with the fitness coach on the app for guidance. So the fitness coach will definitely tailor their suggestions according to your schedule and also your fitness level. Okay, and then the dietitian will also like communicate with the fitness coach to find out what is the best nutrition plan for you to improve your either gut health or whatever medical condition that you may have. Okay, so R stands for reach out. So try not to deal with stress alone. I understand that work stress can be very crazy. So try to speak to the mental health coach also through the app because stress also have a very huge impact on the gut. Okay, so M stands for mood journal. So mood, you try to use Naluri's mood journal to track how you're feeling and how it might link to your like energy or eating levels. Yeah, energy levels. Okay, so if you're not too sure on where are all these things on the app, like where's the food journal, where's the mood journal, what do I do? Just feel free to also chat with Nani. So Nani is the assistant. You can ask Nani like, oh, how can I do this? How can I do that? Okay, and Nani will refer to the coaches if needed. Okay. Now, I want to have some of the responses from you. The question is, what's one small gut-friendly change you can try this week? Eat more probiotics, take prebiotics, okay? More veggie, great. Stop eating processed food. I mean, you don't have to stop. You can reduce. Okay. More chocolate. Okay. Less sugar, reduce eating junk food. Dark chocolate, whoa. So dark chocolate more than 85%, yeah? Okay, reduce eating processed food, less Maggi. Cut raisins and celery, no, they're actually good for you. It's just not my preference. I'm sure everyone has food preferences, right? Okay. Yes, attend my webinar. Okay, I have a fan here. Okay, drink water. Okay, I see very good responses. Somebody also mentioned buy more nuts. Yes, so try to also include healthy fats. So remember, it's not always about what not to do. You know, every time when we want to improve ourselves, the first thing we think is, oh, what can I not eat? I cannot eat this, I cannot eat that, cannot eat this, everything cannot eat. Then what can you eat, right? So start to shift your mindset and think about what you can eat instead. So what you should eat, you should include prebiotics, probiotics food, omega-3 fatty acids, and balanced plate. Okay, moderation is key, correct? Moderation and variety is key. Remember, it's not just the amount of vegetables, but the different types of vegetables. Okay. Okay, great. So I would like to end this with a quote that sums it all up. So food is not just fuel, it shapes how we feel. Because it's true, what we eat doesn't just affect our physical health, it also influences our mood, energy, and mental well-being too. Okay. So before I go into the Q&A, I will also just briefly share some of the support and resources. So we have free 24/7 Naluri text line. So if you need immediate support, urgent support, feel free to also contact this number. And then we also provide one-to-one Naluri consultation. So if you want like a more personalized consultation, you prefer to talk to us via video call rather than constantly chatting, you can also do so and just book our time on the app. Okay, and then I would also highly suggest you to do our free emotional well-being assessment. So then you get like a deeper understanding of your current mental state. Yeah, so it's just a very simple assessment that you can do on the app. It's called DUS21. Yeah, so then it can categorize you into like low risk, moderate, or high risk. But high risk doesn't mean that you have depression. Yeah, it's not like a diagnosis assessment. Yeah, so if high risk, then maybe it's time for you to also speak to a mental health coach. Okay, so for those of you who have not even downloaded the app, so you can scan the QR code to download the app, Naluri app. Yeah. So apart from our app, you can also follow us on the Facebook and Instagram where we will share updates on there. Okay, so now is the Q&A session. So before the Q&A session, there's one more thing I would need help with, which is to fill in the feedback form. Yes, so you can click the link and just fill. It's just a very short feedback form, but it's really important for us to understand whether you enjoy this webinar or not. Like, what are some of the future webinars that you might be interested in? Okay, I'll just give you like 1 to 2 minutes and fill in your feedback form, and then I will go through the Q&A in the chats. So I'm sure that you guys have a lot of questions. Okay, I will only reply to those who has tagged me, because maybe the previous one is I cannot find back anymore. So if your questions is not answered, just feel free to tag me. Okay. Okay. Remember to give us feedback. We will appreciate it very much. Okay, so while you guys fill in the feedback form, I will answer some of the questions. Okay, so the first question from Ahmad is whether I'm allergic to celery. Because he loves celery. No, I'm not allergic. I just don't like the taste. It's just a preference thing. Yeah, I'm not allergic. I don't get rashes when I eat celery. Yeah, but if I have to eat, if it's like in the soup or something, I will eat. Yeah. Okay, and then the second question is, can opt for supplement in drugstore for probiotic? Okay, so I'm sure I already anticipate this question to come up. So regarding like probiotic supplements, right? Majority of of them, they take probiotic supplements, but they're not sure whether it's work for you or not, good for you or not. So in general, probiotic supplements are actually very good for you if you have digestive issues. So for example, if you have like antibiotic associated diarrhea, or if you have IBS, so all these digestive issues, certain strains of probiotics will help, because there's so many different strains, right? So many different types of bacteria. So different strains will work differently for different condition. Yeah. So if you are someone who is healthy, who doesn't have any issues, I would say you can just take the natural probiotic food like yogurt, tempeh, kimchi, all these are fine. But if you still want to take probiotics supplement, you can just go for like a general one. That's fine too. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so the next question is, okay, will artificial sweetener affect the gut health? The short answer is no, because unless you take too much. So if you take too much artificial sweetener, it definitely will disrupt your gut balance. So what I mean by too much, right? So like for example, if you take artificial sweetener from like stevia or lakanto, like once a day, that's fine, no issues. But if you take like, you tell me you take 10 Coke Zeros a day, so that's significant, right? So that's when it will affect your gut health. So small amount of artificial sweetener to basically reduce your intake of sugar or control your blood sugar levels, that's fine, totally fine. Yeah. Okay, and then we have a question from No Atika. Why do I feel stomach ache or headache or migraine after eating oily food? This one, it could be due to a lot of factors. I think it's very hard to pinpoint what exactly it is. But if you frequently get it, right, I think it's best to also seek for medical help. So it might also you might have like undiagnosed underlying issues that triggers your headache or migraine. Yeah. But I mean, if you know that, eating oily food causes you this, then maybe you try reducing eating oily food. It's good for you anyway, right? Okay, and then the next question from Noor Quraisha. Is it okay to eat several types of fruits at once? Like one kiwi, one apple, one banana. Okay, so for fruits, right, I always recommend you to eat 2 to 3 servings of fruits a day. I'm talking about healthy population in general. If you have diabetes or kidney disease, that's when your portion size might be different. So for healthy general population, you can eat 2 to 3 servings of fruits a day. So what I mean by one serving is, so like apple, orange, pear, kiwi, one fruit is one serving. So however, it's best to separate it. Try not to have 3 servings at one go, because we are afraid that your sugar levels will spike up, right? So you can have 2 servings at one go. So maybe you can have one kiwi and one apple, and maybe the one banana you leave it later. Yeah, that's what you can do. And then I also have one question that asks whether detox tea helps with weight loss. Unfortunately, it doesn't. So weight loss ultimately depends on your energy balance, right? So if you consistently consume more than what you need, that's when you will gain weight. Yeah. So and vice versa, if you eat lesser, if your body experiences a calorie deficit, that's when you will experience weight loss. So tea detox will not help weight loss unless the tea inside got medication properties. So certain medications, right, that is prescribed by the doctor, okay, not like illegal one, okay, prescribed by the doctor, can actually reduce your appetite. So when your appetite is reduced, naturally you will eat lesser as well. Yeah. So one question from Tan Chuan Ngan. Spicy food, are they okay? Question 2 is, how do we link to what I like to eat? Are they what I need? How do we link to what I like to eat? I'm not too sure what your question 2 means, but your question 1, spicy food, they are okay, but of course, not too spicy and not too frequent. So the amount and frequency ultimately still matters, because it's the dose that makes the poison, right? If constantly you are eating very spicy food, and then your gut lining will also be inflamed, basically. So try to also neutralize it with non-spicy food, not all the time spicy food. Okay, maybe you can clarify what does question 2 means and tag me again. Okay, so the next question from Alif: do I recommend taking pre or probiotic sachet, or is it sufficient taking through yogurt? Yeah, so this question I also answered it just now. So for sachet or supplements, right, if you don't have any digestive issue, you don't have to take. Prebiotics is best to take from fiber, like the vegetables, fruits, whole grains, nuts, and seeds, and all this. So all these are your best prebiotics. So probiotics is sufficient to just take it through yogurt, but be mindful of the sugar content. So try to aim for those unflavored yogurt. Okay. And then next question from Siti Safwa: cruciferous vegetables make my stomach upset. Any advice to eat without stomach pain? Okay, so it depends on the amount, right? If you eat little bit, then you feel upset already, then maybe you can look into the cooking method. So try to make sure that the vegetables are not raw. Try to cook it thoroughly before you eat. And you can mix with different vegetables. So my suggestion is cook it thoroughly and mix cruciferous vegetables with other types of vegetables, like carrot or leafy vegetables. So that maybe can reduce your symptoms of stomach pain. Okay. And then next question from Alia: are there any red flags in popular gut health trends or supplements? Red flags, yeah, so it depends, right? If the supplement promise you very crazy things, like the supplements can help you to lose weight, can help you to remove like a lot of worries, like digestive worries, with just the supplements, then it's kind of like a red flag lah. Yeah, or like any popular gut health trends. I'm not sure what are some of the popular gut health trends, but most importantly is try to have as much plant-based food, like the study that I mentioned, right? They actually eat 30 different kinds of plant-based food in a week. So the more variety, the more diverse your gut health is. Yeah. Okay, spicy food question I answered already. Okay, one question from Suhanis is: breakfast or intermittent fasting, which one is good for your overall health? So if you don't have any specific health goal, right, just have your breakfast. Okay, just have your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Don't have to fast yourself. So fasting is not for everyone. If you skip your breakfast, you might feel very hungry for lunch and you might overeat. Or if you are fasted for a very long period of time, your sugar levels might increase as well, because your body is trying to compensate, right? Yeah, so if you want more specific advice for your health goal, just reach out to me in the chats, yeah? Okay. Next question from Muhammad Nabil: do you have any advice like a picky eater like me as a dietitian? Well, picky eater is definitely you will have a range of food that you will eat, right? Maybe there are a lot of foods that you don't eat, but there are some food that you eat. So then I will try to focus on how to make these different combinations of food to make sure you have enough nutrients. And then slowly, maybe I will find some ways to incorporate different types of recipes to expose you with different food. Yeah. Fadila asks, this is a very good question from Fadila. How do you know your gut is healthy? Okay, so whether your gut is healthy or not, right? Usually how they test the gut is actually through stool tests. Through stool tests, yeah. So basically your poop, right? Your poop test to see what's your gut microbiome profile. But you don't have to be stressed about whether your gut is healthy or not by doing a stool test. I mean, of course, if you want, you can do so. You can pay to do so, right? But even if you are not, as long as you focus on that 5 principles that I show you, right? You have your omega-3 foods, you have a huge variety of prebiotics from plants, and then you have our natural probiotics food. Your meals are always balanced. That's when your gut is healthy. Yeah, so you don't have to worry too much. Unless you have underlying gut digestive problems like IBS, then that's a whole different story. Yeah, so if you need personalized advices, feel free to reach out to me too. Okay, a question from Nelly. Is water fasting for several days can have bad effects to our body or gut? What does water fasting mean? Meaning you don't eat anything and just water, and just drink water, is it? So water fasting, no, I don't recommend that. Okay, because our body need nutrients. So if you only drink water without food, then your body cannot thrive because like even your nails, your vision, your hair, everything you need, everything comes from food, right? Your nutrients, your micronutrients like your vitamin B's, like your protein, all these make up your body, you know. So if you don't eat, then that's when you find that your nails are brittle, and then you have no energy because you're not eating, right? And then it will also impact your productivity and so on and so forth. Yeah, so no, try to eat. Don't just fast with water for several days. Yeah. So next question from Barry. Are canned sardines and tuna okay? Yes, of course, Barry. Canned sardines and tuna are one of my favorite protein source because it's so convenient, right? Sometimes I got no time to prepare like grilled chicken or roasted chicken. I always use canned food. Yeah. So, but however, you try to find those canned sardines and tuna in water lah, and then drain it off because it can be very salty and preserved high in salt because it's canned food, right? So you need to try to drain the water off. Okay. Okay, Arman, how to cure lactose intolerance? Lactose intolerance can be very tricky. So there are a few ways on how we can approach this, right? So it depends on whether it works for you. So for some people it does, some people it doesn't. So one of the way is to include little bit lactose every day. So maybe you take a little bit, micro dosing essentially. So you take a little bit of lactose and then see how you feel. Okay. At the same time, you can also eat some enzyme that can digest lactose. Yeah. So then you feel better as well. Okay. And question from Muhammad Afiq. Got recommendation to a postbiotic sachet recently. Explain. Okay, so the question from Afiq is there's recommendation to take postbiotic sachet, but he's not quite sure because it's his first time hearing about it. Well, most of the time, all these things are like quite gimmicky lah. They are not very real. So just stick to that few principles that I mentioned, then you will have a very good gut health. So even if you want to have probiotic supplements, right, you can just have like a regular one, like those lactobacillus or bifidobacterium, right? 1 to 10 billion CFU would be good for you already. Okay, can taking probiotics help gut health? I think I've answered a lot of probiotic supplements question already. So the only time I will probably strongly recommend a probiotic supplement is, of course, number one, you have digestive issue. Number two is if you are on antibiotics. So let's say you have an infection, right? The doctor asks you to take a course of antibiotics of 3 days or 5 days, right? So that's when you can take probiotics because antibiotic will disrupt your gut balance. So if you want to take probiotics, I would suggest you to space it out 2 hours between your antibiotics. So don't take antibiotic and probiotic together because then they will cancel off each other. The antibiotic will just kill off the probiotics. So you can take probiotics if you're on antibiotics to restore your gut balance, but make sure it's 2 hours gap. Okay. Okay, question from Montaigne. Store-bought pesto sauce in glass jar, ultra or just processed? It's fine. You can go ahead with your pesto sauce. It's processed, but it's not ultra processed. Yeah. So pesto is mainly made up of a lot of like different types of plants and herbs, right? Yeah, that's fine. But be mindful of the oil. Sometimes it can be very, very oily. So maybe you want to like drain a little bit of oil away. Yeah. So a question from Shan. What food or nutrients would you recommend someone with constipation to take? Okay, so for someone with constipation, like the general answer, because I'm not too sure about your specific condition, right? And how long you've had constipation and how bad is it. So for someone in general with constipation, if you we try to focus on a few things. Number one, hydration, make sure you have enough water. Number two, movement. So physical activity also plays a very important role in alleviating your constipation. Number three is definitely fiber. So fiber, we try to aim 20 to 30 grams of fiber a day. So where does fiber come from? Your fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, and whole grains. So all these are the things that can help with constipation. Fiber, movement, and hydration. So also depends on how bad is it. So if you have other conditions, feel free to also chat with me in the app. Yeah. Okay, next question. Okay, I will probably take questions for another like maybe 5-10 minutes. Yeah. Okay, another question but I'm happy to see all of you participating and asking questions. It's good to learn all together, right? Okay, so this question from Happy Vidya. What foods are good to eat during menstruation to maintain good gut health and mood? Are they the same? There's no specific food to eat during menstruation. So as long as you continue with your like the usuals, right? Like the 5 principles that I mentioned, then your gut is good in general. So of course, during menstruation, we experience like PMS, right? Like premenstrual symptoms, where I will get like headaches. I will get a bit irritable. So sometimes I will just take like 2 pieces of dark chocolate to make myself feel a bit better. Yeah, in general, I also practice a lot of like strategies to make myself feel better. Yeah, because I personally also I have my own mental health coach that I speak to on the app as well. So yeah, so we usually find ways to navigate and like see what works best for me at that point of time. Yeah. Okay, I will not answer like supplements questions anymore unless it's different. Okay, a question from Noor Diana. When you say healthy oil, how to eat the oil? Is frying okay or eat as it is? Palm oil not healthy? Okay, so when we talk about cooking oil, right? How to eat the oil? Of course, if you deep fry it, that's when the good oil will turn into bad oil. So of course, deep frying, we try to minimize as much as possible. But if you stir fry a little bit, you boil your food, roast it, and then you just spray a little bit of oil on your pan, or spread a little bit of like oil before you roast your chicken and stuff like that. It's okay. Even if you want to eat as it is, it's also fine, provided that your meal has no oil. For example, I steam some corn, and then I have some boiled eggs, and then I have some vegetables or whatever, right? There's no oil. So we need healthy fats also, right? So that's when you can drizzle a little bit of oil onto it, or you can also include some avocado, nuts and seeds. So all these are also healthy fats. So whether palm oil is healthy or not healthy, ultimately it depends on the amount. If you only have like small amount of palm oil while you cook, right, that's totally fine. And also palm oil have very high smoking point. So if you were to really deep fry your food, I would suggest you to use palm oil. Okay, and then constipation I've also addressed already. Okay, another question from Montaigne. Is cooking meals using microwave going to affect the nutritional value of the food? No, it won't. So microwave is one of the very convenient tool that you can use to prepare food when you don't have time. And it's not going to affect the nutritional value of the food. So don't worry, just use it. Yeah. Okay, and one question. I rarely eat fruits, like once in 10 to 14 days, but I substitute with vegetables and yogurt. Would it be recommended? Generally, I don't like eating fruits. Well, yeah, it's okay. If you don't really like to eat fruits, you can substitute with vegetables, different kinds of colors, I would suggest. So instead of just like green color, you try to have a different variety in colors. And also, yeah, yogurt, that's also okay if you don't like to eat fruits. Okay. A question from Liming. How much water or liquid or how water is taken to help with gut health? So it depends on your body weight and your physical activity level. So for somebody who is tall, and probably bigger, they might need more water. And somebody who is active and constantly under the sun, they sweat a lot, they will need more water as well. So if you want like specific recommendations, just feel free to chat with me. Is air fried food healthy? Yes, air fried food can be healthy too. So it's like microwave, right? The concept. So you can take air fried food. So air fried food uses much lesser oils than deep frying. So air fried food, yes, can be part of your cooking method. Is homemade kombucha good? So homemade kombucha, whether it's good or not, it also depends on your health goal, right? If you are someone struggling to manage your blood sugar level, then I won't recommend. This is because you need like a pretty large amount of sugar to make kombucha. But in general, if you are healthy, go ahead, just take the homemade kombucha. But not asking you to drink it like water. So if one day you drink like 1 to 2 cups, enough already. Okay, Weiling, is Saccharomyces boulardii as probiotic recommended for normal adults? Yes. So this Saccharomyces boulardii is not a type of bacteria. It's more like a yeast. So it's better if, like, for example, if you're on antibiotics, then I would recommend this specific strain of probiotics for you. Yeah. But if you want to take it as a general, right, you don't have to take this specific strain. You can just take the lactobacillus, bacteriophyrum, all these strains will be better for you. Yeah. And then another question, if I really like eggs, does it mean I need eggs? Is this a mind guarding? Oh, okay, I get what you mean now. So you're trying to say that if you really like egg, does that mean your body is telling you that you need eggs, right? Well, not exactly. Well, of course, there's preferences, right? It doesn't mean that you need it. So, like, for example, for somebody who really likes to eat fried chicken, for example, does that mean that they really need it, or like ice cream, right? So it's not too much of that. Of course, you need eggs, but it's not too much of the mind-gut link in terms of your preference. Yeah, the mind-gut link mainly affects your mood. Yeah, whether you are happy or sad. Okay, another question from Arman. Okay, I will just a few more questions here, guys, because we are a bit over the time already. Okay, I love sashimi. Is it safe to eat raw fish frequently? Well, safe or not, it depends on how the fish is handled. So make sure you go to like a safe restaurant. Yeah, it's fine to have it frequently. Okay, yes, just water. Is grilled food healthy to eat on a daily basis? That's fine. Grill, air fried, all is okay. Roasted. Okay, another question. Why people advocate keto and practice keto for years, decades, got side effect or not? Okay, so keto diet is also another whole different topic. So if you guys are interested in a webinar that talks about the different types of diet, right, and how it impacts you, whether it works or not, like feel free to also let us know. Then maybe we can arrange one for you guys. Okay, so yeah, keto diet is not recommended for people who wants to be healthy or lose weight, right? Because keto diet originally comes, the origin of keto diet is actually for children with epilepsy, So children with epilepsy will benefit from keto diet. But for weight loss and stuff, in general, I don't really recommend because your meals need to be very, very high in fat. So what happens in the long run? Your cholesterol level might increase also, and then it will increase your risk of heart attack. That's what we don't want, right? You lose weight and then you get heart attack. We don't want that. Yeah. Okay, so if you want a safer way and more sustainable way to lose weight, just feel free to chat with a dietitian too. Okay, I'll probably take like 2 to 3 more questions. If water fasting but take supplements like apple cider and vitamin C, no, I don't really recommend to. So our body still need nutrients. So water fasting and taking supplements alone, it doesn't give you that protein or healthy fats or carbs that your body need for the normal metabolic function. Yeah. Is canned tuna in olive oil better than in water? But tuna has content of mercury or not? Okay. Canned tuna in olive oil. Canned tuna, in water. It depends on what your health goal is. If you want to lose weight, I would say in water is better. But if your aim is to gain weight, or if your meal doesn't have any oil at all, then you can take canned tuna in olive oil. Yeah. So whether the fish has mercury or not, I mean, to a certain extent, I'm sure like they have like mercury, right? But not suggesting you to eat the whole can at once. Like you eat half can, that is fine, no problem. Okay. Other than canola, olive oil, what other oil good for the gut? Actually, a lot of oil like flaxseed oil, sunflower oil, blended oils, all these are really good for you. Yeah. Every time after I eat or drink, I will burp non-stop. Is it because it's full of gas? Okay, so if you constantly burp after you eat or drink, right, it can mean a few things. Number one, there could be something wrong with your digestive system. Maybe your gut health is not very good. Okay. Number two, maybe you eat a meal that is very, very high in fat, or additional, or like those sweeteners, like artificial sweeteners. So a meal high in fats will digest very slowly in our stomach. So that's when you like burp and all. And then artificial sweeteners, if taken in large amount, will also cause discomfort to your stomach. Yeah. Okay. Okay, 2 more questions. Is eating chicken more than other protein okay for your body? That's fine. Some people prefer chicken more, right? Yeah, it's okay. You can eat more chicken as compared to other protein, but I will always suggest to take more lean protein and plant-based protein. So what are some of the lean and plant-based protein? For example, tofu, tempeh, beans, fish, what else? Nuts and seeds, dairy, chicken without skin. Yeah, that's also fine. Okay. Is sacha inchi oil good? It's good. Define good. So it depends on the amount lah. If you take small amount, for like the health benefits, if you drizzle it onto your food, that's fine. But don't have to purposely drink the oil. I don't have to do that. What is considered a safe Japanese restaurant? Well, that is a very hard question to answer. Okay, so try to find reputable ones. Okay, I think that's it from me. So I guess I'll see you guys probably in the next webinar next time. Thank you very much for your time, for joining me today. And I hope this helps you to feel more empowered in making food choices, smart food choices. Okay. Thank you.